So we will start with the prayers. Harmony. Okay.
Yeah.
Om
Okay.
Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmadgurubhyo Namaha. Sharada Sharadhamboja Vadana Vadanambhuje Sarvada Sarvadasmakam Sannidhim Sannidhim Kriyat Shri Sharada Parameshwar Jai Namaha. Shruti Smriti Puranamayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Sri Medha Dakshina Murti Swamine Namaha Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahavidyam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Namaste once again to all of you.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
Namaste, sir.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste. Namaste. So in the last class, we started this understanding this Vishnu Sahasranamam along with Bhashya of Adi Shankara. And as I told you, Adi Shankara has interpreted the Vishnu Sahasranamam from the Advaita Vedanta Siddhanta standpoint. That you must always keep it in mind, because Vishnu Sahasranamam is a very widely practiced slokas, and there are different ways one can look at the slokas and the meanings of the names. But our study is from Advaita Vedanta Siddhanta, which is the Siddhanta which is enshrined in the Upanishads. So our approach is totally Vedic. We are not going to depend upon Puranas or any other Itihasa, Slokas and all that, even though we may quote them in support of what we want to say. That's what Adi Shankara does. We means Adi Shankara does that. He takes the meanings from all the scriptures, as I told you, from Veda, from Smriti Granthas, like Bhagavad Gita and all. He takes from Puranas, especially Vishnu Purana, he relies heavily on to establish a point why a particular name should have that particular meaning. Right? So this is how the approach is. And I also emphasize the point that from our point of view, from Advaita Vedanta point of view, the chanting of Vishnu Sahasranama or doing Parayanam and all that, the main purpose is Chitta Shuddhi. Because our goal in life, our ultimate goal in life, Parama Purushartha is what? Moksha. And moksha can be got only when you get the knowledge of your own self, your true self. Today we have a misconceived knowledge. We have self ignorance, because of which we are all having all the troubles and all the miseries and the dukkha in this world. Once you get the self knowledge, then the shastras say that you will be relieved from all these dukkhas, and which includes this punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam also. This rebirth, cycle of rebirths also will be put an end to once you get the self-knowledge. Right? So this is what briefly we saw, and we also saw the structure of Vishnu Sahasranama, how I am going to approach it, the Purva Bhaga, the invocatory slokas which are there. Then the Sahasranama itself, the 1000 names, and then the Uttara Bhaga, Falashruti, we will see that. Right. And the most important point that we have to remember is that in our religion, in our culture, Ishvara or God or Bhagavan is not someone to be believed in. That we must be very careful, because over a period of time, we have actually fallen into the thinking, the mindset of other religions like Christianity and all. They believe there is a God, and that God is sitting somewhere in heaven, and that is a he, not even a she, because they refer to the God as masculine gender. And that God will sit in judgment over everybody, and then he will send you to Swarga, Naraka, and all that kind of stuff, and all heaven, hell, and all those things they talk. And unfortunately, because of our lack of understanding, lack of knowledge of our own scriptures, we all start believing like that only, that we have to believe in God. It is not the case. We have to discover God, what is God, and we have to understand what God is. That is the approach of our religion, our scriptures. And in that process, this Vishnu Sahasranama is one of the best, you can say, tools to do that. One of the best the slokas in order to discover and understand what is God. That is what the purpose of this Vishnu Sahasranama. And while doing so, you get a purity of your mind. And the more and more purity you achieve, the self knowledge will sink in more and more. Without that, guaranteed no self knowledge. Even if you listen for 1,000 hours to Upanishads, nothing will go into your mind as long as you don't have the Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Naischalyam with you. Okay. So, our religion or our culture is a culture of reverence, a culture of prayerful attitude. This we can see in so many ways, right from you know uh, 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 inculcating a reverential attitude towards our parents, towards our teacher, towards our guests, in fact, towards everything that we see around. We are taught to have a reverential attitude. And when it comes to God or Ishvara, in whatever manner we understand that, automatically there is a reverential attitude, isn't it? When we see some God's photo or anything, go to a temple, we have a reverential attitude, a respectful attitude. But that is not very easy to come as in so far as other human beings are concerned. Other things in the nature are concerned, both animate and inanimate things. It is not so easy to come by this reverential attitude. So therefore, what has happened is, what our culture does is uh, create an infrastructure to develop this reverential attitude. To begin with, Taittiriya Upanishad says, Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atiti Devo Bhava. All these things are all first told to us. Then what happens is, in order to develop this reverential attitude, temples are constructed. Because temples, we have gods. The Ishvara is there in the temple. That's what we all believe. So when we go to a temple, we have a reverential attitude. That's fine. So there is a Ishvara, we have a reverential attitude. But how do you inculcate the reverential attitude towards other things? For example, inanimate things like stone and things like that. How can you develop a reverential attitude? So they constructed the Shivalinga and all that through stones, with the help of stones. So the moment you see a Shivalinga or a Saligrama, you immediately develop a reverential attitude. And that Shivalinga is only a symbol or a representative of the entire thing, which is made of stones and whatever it is. So this is the one step they take to, and temples are also. In fact, when we enter a temple, many of us have this habit, there is this step will be there to enter the temple. As we enter the temple, because the stone which is there in the steps is also associated with that Ishvara, which is supposed to be there in the temple, or which is there in the temple, we touch the stone and we will do like this while entering, isn't it? After all, it is a stone. We are going to put our feet on that stone. Why you should have a reverential attitude? Because of the association with God. Okay, so inanimate things we have taken care of, stones and all. You can develop a reverential attitude through this example. What about plants and all that? So what they did, they said, okay, you do puja of Ishvara with flowers, pushpam, phalam, everything, you can rather pushpam and also this patram, leaves, do puja. When we do this Ganesha Chaturthi, how many leaves we use? And whenever we are offering those leaves, with what attitude we offer those leaves with a reverential attitude. So, like that, to the entire flora, you develop a reverential attitude. See, this is all highly symbolic. We must understand how our culture is beautifully, built everything into that, so that the basic thing, which is respect towards everything, reverence toward everything, is developed right from childhood. Then the question is, okay, flora is fine. I can understand you make garlands and then offer flowers, offer the tulsi and bilvam and everything and all. What about animals? Well, they are also there. And there are some of them are dangerous animals, poisonous animals, ferocious animals. They said, okay, we will give these animals as vahanas to all these bhagavans, all these devatas. So they put one servant, a poisonous servant, in Shiva's neck, and then said, this is Abharanam for Shiva. So the moment you see a serpent, you remember that Shiva's Abharanam, and you have a reverential attitude towards that serpent. You in fact do Naga Panchami puja and all that for that snake, isn't it? What about tiger? They made Durga sit on the tiger. So the moment you see a tiger, you see the Durga Swarupa. Same thing, Ayyappa sitting on a tiger, bringing the milk and all that. So, and then for Ganapathy, they gave the mouse as a vahana. So that even a small thing like a mouse, you must develop a reverential attitude. So this is the beauty of our culture. Once you start relating and understanding how this whole thing is structured, you will automatically develop a reverential attitude towards everything, including a paper or a book which is there, a newspaper for that matter, which we read and just throw it away. We develop a reverential attitude. For example, the newspaper is lying down on the floor, and by mistake, if our leg touches that newspaper, what do? We will touch that newspaper and says, I'm sorry, my legs touched you, right? Does it mean that the newspaper, there is a God? In fact, we do believe that everything which is there, any knowledge which is there anywhere, is Goddess Saraswati. So even to a piece of paper, in fact, that paper may be containing a news about some terrorist action. Still, we don't care. It is something to be revered about. So that is the attitude. We must first understand the cultural background of our Hindu religion. This you will not find in any other religion. That is the speciality of our religion. And why do we do that? What is the basis of this reverential attitude? For that, Advaita Vedanta starting point we have to understand. Chandogya Upanishad says, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. All that is there in this entire cosmos is verily Brahman Ishvara. It's a very, very profound statement it makes. All that is there is Bhagavan Ishvara only. First you understand and see in everything with that perspective. And here we have to understand I've used two words, Brahman and Ishvara. There is a slight difference, even though it is not a very material difference. Brahman is a principle, and Ishvara is when Maya joins Brahman. We will see that what is Maya and all. Joins Brahman, it becomes Ishvara. Brahman on its own is only a principle. It doesn't have any power. So Brahman has to join with Maya to create this world. So everything is Brahman or Ishvara is the first point. We need to understand the starting point of Advaita Vedanta. So when you relate it to the Vishnu Sahasranamam, all the 1,000 names are names of Ishvara only. 1,000 words are names of Ishvara only. And when we understand that, that itself becomes a window through which you look at Ishvara, you appreciate Ishvara, and also understand Ishvara with awe and wonderment. In fact, if you study the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, you know, the Vishwarupa Swarupa. That's all about this only. Krishna says, I am in everything. Good, bad, ugly, everything I am. That's what we have to understand. So this is how we can relate these 1,000 names or 1,000 words. On its own, they are just words. But when you actually attach this Ishwaratvam to those words, then you start understanding what those words mean, what they convey. And that's a big revelation for us. So, starting with this, before we go into those 1,000 words and try to understand a little bit, a very wee bit of the Advaita Vedanta principles will be useful for us to know, right? I won't make it very big. Very simple, one or two basic points I will make. Our scriptures say that the first to appear in this entire cosmos, even before the creation, was Ishvara or Parameshwara or Brahman, as I said. We can, for simple, say God, even though the word God doesn't mean anything in our culture. The word Ishvara, Bhagavan and all is derived words. We can understand. If you know Sanskrit, you will know what is Ishvara. If you know Sanskrit, you will know what is Bhagavan, because Bhagavan is a word which is derived. And you can understand what is the meaning of the word Bhagavan. God, you cannot understand what is the meaning. God means God, that's all. Ishvara. And Lord, all powerful. That's what you have to understand, right? So, as I said, everything is Brahman. What the Chandogya Upanishad further says is that Sadeva Saumya Idamagram Asit Ekameva Advitiyam. What does this mean? Sat Eva. Sat means pure existence. Existence principle. That is Sat. Must understand. Existence principle. So that existence principle was the first one which was there even before this creation. And when we talk of the existence principle, the scriptures talk about consciousness principle and also the happiness principle, limitlessness principle. They are all equated together, and they say that these were the principles which existed before the creation. And no scientist has reached that, because today, even in the Big Bang theory, the scientists know what was the T1 situation. After the Big Bang, what was the situation? They can research and find out. But if you ask them what was the situation before Big Bang, nobody knows. They only say it is called singularity. That much they know. But what the singularity means, what was the nature of the singularity, they're still trying to find so many experiments, God particle, this, that, and all, and millions of dollars are being spent on that, but they have not reached. They will not reach also. Because as long as you are looking at Ishvara or these principles as an object, you will never be able to find it. That's what our scriptures say. They are not object, they are the subjects. You cannot search them elsewhere. You have to search them within yourself. So that is all going to too much of Vedanta. So what it says is this principle, the Sadeva, Sat Eva, the pure existence principle alone was there, and that was non-dual. That is the only one which was there. That is what we call Ishvara or Brahman. And the nature of that was Sat, Chit, and Ananda, and also Ananta. This is what the scriptures say, the nature of that Sat: pure existence, pure consciousness, pure limitlessness, and pure joy, pure happiness. This was the situation before the creation. So therefore, Ishvara or Brahman was not born, just existed. And similarly, what is not born will not have a death also. Because only which is born can die. What is not born cannot die. It just continues to exist. Right? So there is no beginning, no end. It is Anadi and Ananta. Anadi means doesn't have a beginning. Ananta means doesn't have an end. Right? And as I said, the Swarupa of this Brahman is supposed to be Sat, pure existence, Chit, pure consciousness, and Ananda, pure joy. And pure joy arising out of what? Ananta have limitlessness. Because the limitlessness nature only can give joy, happiness. When you come to Vedanta, you will understand all this in much more detail, how limitlessness leads to happiness. So this is the nature or Swarupa of that Brahman rather. Because the experiential happiness that we get now and then, in our life, that is temporary happiness. It comes and goes. It has a beginning, it has an end. And normally happiness lasts for a little while, and then a longer period of sorrow will follow that, isn't it? So that is not the joy which is being talked about. That is not the happiness which is talked about. Happiness as a nature is being talked about, not happiness as an experience. So this was the situation before the creation began. So the first to appear in the cosmos was what? Ishvara or Brahman. The existence principle. Now we can let us understand what is this existence principle. When we say a chair is, a clock is, a computer is, a table is, the objects are all different, right? Chair, clock, computer, table, different objects we are referring to. But the easiness doesn't change. The ease is the same, whether it is table or chair and all, and that easiness, what is representing the existence principle. So when we say chair is, mean the chair exists. Clock is, the clock exists. I am, I exist. You are, you exist. So this word is, this verb which we use, represents that existence principle. And this easiness will not go away at all. You break the chair, make it into powder, still we will say powder is. The chair has changed its shape and name, but easiness has not gone away. This is a subtle point we must understand. What is this pure existence about? So this particular thing, so Sadeva Saumya Idamagra Asit, Ekameva Dvitiyam, that Sat is this isness was there. And the scriptures say that this Ishvara, this Brahman created the world. Now, very interesting thing. If there was nothing else other than this Ishvara, and this world that we are seeing has got so many things, with what did he create this world? Question will arise. No? Suppose you say there was other things also, all raw material was there. Ishvara came and then he converted everything into the world. One can understand. But here the scriptures say that there was nothing else. Only Ishvara, Brahman, Sad Eva was there. Only pure existence was there. How did this world come into existence will be the question. Natural question, logical question. Then the scriptures say that Ishvara created this world out of his own self, out of his own nature. This is what the scriptures say. In fact, Purusha Suktam mantra says, Ajayamano Bahuda Vijayate. Ajayamanaha means the one who was not born. Jayamanaha means was born. Ajayamanaha who was not born. Vijayate appeared as, manifested as, Bahuda as the plural word, all these things that we are seeing. So, when we say Ishvara created the world, which is what all religions believe, that God made this world, right? There is no dispute in that. But where other people don't go, where our culture goes, is to explain how, with what did he create this world? He created this world out of his own self. So this is first point we have to understand, that this entire world, including you and I, you and me, have been created by Parameshwara. God has created that. And he has created this whole world out of his own nature. Out of his own entity he has created. So Ishvara is the cause, Jagat Karanam, and everything, this entire cosmos, this entire universe is the product, which is Karyam. In Sanskrit it is called Karyam. So Ishvara is Jagat Karanam, and this entire Prapancha, this world is Jagat Karyam. So this much we must understand. This is what our scriptures tell us. Jagat Karanam and Jagat Karyam. Right? Now, when we talk of cause and effect, another truth we must understand, that the cause pervades the effect. Isn't it? Suppose you take the clay and then make a pot out of it. That clay will pervade the entire pot. It is not that when you take the clay and make a pot out of it, the clay has vanished and the pot has come. No. The clay is there in and through the pot, and all the qualities of the clay will be there in the pot. Isn't it? We can cite so many examples. Take wood. Make a chair, a wooden chair. All the qualities of the wood you will find in the chair. That it is solid. In the wood also you can actually drive a nail or a screw, and the chair also you can drive a nail or a screw. If you put fire to the wood, it will burn. Chair also, you put fire, it will burn. So the chair is nothing but a modified form of wood, and the quality of the wood pervades the whole chair. So whenever we are talking of the cause and effect, we must understand that the qualities of the cause will pervade the effect. Right? And another example, gold you take. Ornaments are made out of gold. Gold is the cause, ornaments are the effect. All the qualities of the gold which is there, they pervade the ornaments. You will find the same qualities in the ornaments. Ornaments will not have a different quality than the gold. So, as I said, if you start analyzing, and Vedanta is all about analysis. Vedanta is not about belief at all. It is about analysis. Everything, every experience, the smallest of the experience, pick it up and analyze. Go to the go to the root. You will find a lot of truths which you have never realized. You don't even understand those things. Another example, this shirt I am wearing. Okay. This shirt is made of what? It's made of a fabric. Once the shirt is made, has the fabric gone? No. The fabric is there, the shirt is also there. So why do we call this a shirt? That is because it serves a purpose. It is a name and form we have given to the fabric for a particular purpose, so we give it a different name, shirt. Otherwise, in essence, this is a fabric only. Isn't it true?
Yeah.
So the shirt is the fabric, and this is very important to understand that when we say the Jagat is made, this entire cosmos is made, is a product, the cause of which is Ishvara or Brahman. What it means? All the qualities of that Ishvara, all the qualities of that Brahman necessarily has to pervade each and every object and each and everything in this world. Once you understand this, you will understand why we should have a reverential attitude towards everything. Where everything is Ishvara, everything is that Brahman. There is nothing which is outside that. It is the same Ishvara, we call it by different names because that Ishvara has assumed different forms for which we have given different names. But in essence, they are all Ishvara only, all Bhagavan only. So that is the background we have to understand why we must have a reverential attitude, and that is why that is the sort of a what you can call the foundation of our entire culture, this reverential attitude. So what we all see is only the names and forms of that Bhagavan. That's all. Multiple, this plurality of this world we talk about, we see, we experience is all nothing but the names and forms of that one Ishvara, that one Advitiya Ishvara, the non-dual Brahman. And even take the example, the shirt and yarning. Suppose we can say, go to the next level, fabric. What is fabric? What is the cause of the fabric? We'll say yarn. When the fabric has come, has the yarn gone? No. Yarn is very much present in the fabric. In fact, yarn is the content of this fabric. Isn't it? So if you go on analyzing backwards, what is yarn? Nothing but fibers. What are fibers? Molecules. What are molecules? They are nothing but atoms. What are atoms? They are nothing but particles. Now quantum physics says that they are waves. You go on and on and on. Ultimately, you will reach the final cause, the first cause, which is Ishvara Bhagavan. And all these intermediary things, once one effect comes, that becomes a cause for the next effect, then that becomes a cause for the next effect. All these link, this entire chain of cause and effect, all go back to one cause, the main cause, which is Ishvara. That is what we must understand very, very carefully, that Karana pervades the Karyam, And when it is said that when Ishvara has converted himself or manifested himself as this entire Jagat, this Jagat is a Karyam, and all the qualities of that Bhagavan pervades everything that it is there in this world. So the Jagat has got no separate existence other than Ishvara. The entire Jagat, the Adhishtanam, the foundation is Ishvara for this entire Jagat. So what we can say is this Jagat has got a dependent existence on Ishvara, and Ishvara has got an independent existence. This much even we must understand. This is all very, very subtle points of Vedanta. This is what the Upanishads tell us. Right? But the question now will be, we can see this Jagat, experience this Jagat, but we cannot see Ishvara. Isn't it? This question then anybody can ask. So I said, that is why I said that Ishvara is nothing to be experienced independent of this Jagat. When you are experiencing this Jagat, what you are doing is you are experiencing that Ishvara only. And that is why the reverential attitude. We must connect all these links, then we will understand the basis of our entire culture and our philosophy. Right? So, what one Ishvara becomes all this Jagat, the different objects which are appearing as this cosmos, as this world. Everything is here, we can understand, is therefore Brahma or Ishvara alone rather. And that is what Taittiriya Upanishad says. Yato va imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti yat prayanti abhi samvishanti tad vigyajasva tad brahmeti. Tad brahmeti, that is Brahman. What is Brahman? Yato va imani bhutani jayante, from which all these imani bhutani, all this, the Jagat, in fact, it starts with the Pancha Bhutas. Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apah, Prithvi. The space principle, the Vayu, wind principle. These are all Pancha Bhutas, the main elements. First they were created. These five were first created. I mean, when you go through the entire creation process, which is outlined in our Upanishads, this is how they say. So, from Brahman, first Akasha Sambhuta, Akashat Vayuhu, Vayor Agnihi, Agner Apah, Apah Prithvi. So, from Ishvara, first this Akasha space was created. From space, the air principle was created. From that, fire principle was created. From fire, water principle was created. And from water, earth principle was created. Then, in fact, further it goes to say, Prithivya Oshadihi Oshadibhyo Annam Annat Purushah. From the earth, these plants were created. From the plants, food was created. Oshadibhyo Annam. And Annat Purusha, from the plants and the product of the plants, human being is born. Anna Rasam, they say. All very deep, knowledge is there. But those of you who are in Tattva Bodha, we will deal with all this in Tattva Bodha class. Very detailed, beautiful explanation is there. Very logical. I mean, you can relate it to your own personal experience every day, right? So, as I was saying, that all these are born out of that Brahman. The entire cosmos, this universe, this prapancha is sustained by this Brahman. And at the end of this creation, everything will go back into Brahman, that same Brahman. That Brahman remains the same, whereas this entire universe is born, sustained, and will vanish also, disappear also. In fact, you know, certain theories are there, the Western theories of evolution and all that, that, man was born from monkey and all that, the Darwinian theory and all is there. We don't subscribe to those theories because in our culture, evolution is circular. It is not linear. I mean, Darwinian theory you can probably justify by taking one particular portion in a cycle and say that this is a evolution. From this stage to this stage it came, so that is evolution. But that's only a very, very small portion we are talking about. Evolution is a cycle. And that is why, we whenever we are doing chanting this mantras and sankalpam and all that, we recall each and every. First of all, the four yugas are there, then manmantaras are there, then kalpas are there. So many, this cycle is divided into so many time periods in our culture. Mind-boggling. That is how we have to understand. So when we say the world is going to be destroyed, does not mean that it is going to be destroyed forever. All that we say is, as this world, this entire cosmos, this prapancha is a manifestation of that Ishvara, at the end of this period, whenever it will become unmanifest. It will go to the seed form, back into that existence principle, and be dormant there for a period of time, for a length of time, till the next evolution takes place, next cyclical, creation process starts. Then just like a seed sprouting from the earth, this evolution again will start. One more round of kalpa, one more round of manvantara, one more round of yuga cycle will start. And this has been going on from beginningless times. So if you ask anybody when did the evolution start, the Shastra says we don't know. Nobody can find out when this whole process started. So this much we must understand about the Ishvara, about the role of Ishvara, what is this Jagat, what we experience, and all that, this is all the basis of Vedanta. So we have a creator Ishvara and a created Jagat. And this Ishvara is the Srishti, Sthiti, Laya, Karana. When we say Jagat Karanam, he is the cause for creation of this world. He is the cause for sustenance of this world. He is also the cause for the dissolution of this world. And again, next round, cause for the next round of creation. Okay. And this power to create this world, which Ishvara has got, we have also got. Isn't it? We may never think about it, but just think. We have this power to create a world out of our own self. What is that world? The dream world. When we go to sleep, we create a whole world of dream. In fact, we participate very actively in that world. We give ourselves a dream body. From where all the dream has come, it has come out of our own mind only. It is not that somebody else is projecting some, some projector in our mind and we are seeing a dream. That is why our dream is personal. I cannot see your dream. You cannot see my dream. Because I am the creator, only I can see my dream. We cannot say, okay, tonight I am going to have a very beautiful dream. Let us all join together and see the dream together. We can't say that. We don't even know how the dream starts. But the fact remains that we have that power to create the dream world. That Shakti, that power is there. Ishvara creates this entire world. The power to create that world which is there with Ishvara is called Maya Shakti or Vaishnavi Shakti. And we have got the same power to create a dream world, which is called a Nidra Shakti, the power of sleep. So, even though we say we are manifestation of Ishvara, if you ask this question, Ishvara has got the power to create the world. What power you have got? Answer is we also have got a power to create the dream world. In fact, when you go to the advanced levels of Vedanta, very advanced levels, I don't want to go into that. You will understand that this whole world is your creation only. It exists in you. You created it. It exists in you, and it will also, dissolve in you. At a very advanced level, we have to study all that Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, and all. One has to study to understand that, right? So we also have the similar power, which is the Nidra Shakti, and with which we actually create a dream world. And in the dream world, when we are in a dream, it looks very real, isn't it? As Adi Shankara says in Atma Bodha, Swakale Satyavat Bhati, as long as we are in the dream, it is totally real for us. Just like I'm waking up, this world is real, the dream world is also real for us. We undergo all the emotions in the dream that we undergo in the real world. In fact, many of the experiences we have in the real world, we have the similar experiences in the dream world also. We cry in the dream world, we scream in the dream world, we laugh in the dream world. That's why somebody, children, small children, while sleeping, they will be laughing. And we will say that God is showing a flower and all that. And nothing's flower. God is not showing any flower. It is the previous birth's vasanas are showing some beautiful dream to the child. So it is laughing. This we can see, practically, but we observe it, we don't think about it. We don't analyze it. Vedanta is all about objectively analyzing every experience of ours and then trying to find the truth behind all the experience. That is what is Vedanta. And that is what Adi Shankara is going to do in this entire Vishnu Sahasranam. That's what, he is going to explain with each name how we have to relate to that name, how it relates with Ishvara, the creator. Okay. So, as I said, all this knowledge and this power, which is manifest in the form of this Pancha Mahabhutas, like Akasha, Vayu, and all that which I told you. And this body is made of these Pancha Mahabhutas, Pancha Pranas, organs of knowledge, the Jnanendriya, the Karmendriyas, the Antakaranam, our inner instruments like Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. All these things are all manifestations of Parameshwara only, Ishvara only. We have to understand. Each and every aspect, Parameshwara is there pervading. So, what is the conclusion? You are Ishvara, I am Ishvara. Everybody is Ishvara, everything is Ishvara. That is the conclusion. But then somebody will ask, how can I be Ishvara? Ishvara is Sarvajnaha, Sarvashaktiman, Sarvavyapi. I am Alpagyaha, limited person with limited knowledge, with limited power. I am limited by space and time. How can I be Ishvara? This question will be there. And as I said, all these questions are answered in detail in Vedanta. I don't want to go into too deep into that. This much we must understand, that everything that is there is Ishvara. And one example we can understand, a beautiful example which is there in the Shastras also. When we see an ocean and when we see it's full of water, and there are waves in that ocean, and the waves keep coming and going back. There are different types of waves: smaller waves, bigger waves, slow waves, fast coming waves. So many different types of waves are there. But if we observe carefully, each wave is different from the other, right? You can rarely, probably never find two waves exactly similar. In some aspect, they will be different. And all these waves are temporary in nature. They last only for a few minutes. They'll come to the shore and go back, right? But the content of all these waves is what? Water. These waves rise in water, they are sustained in water, and they go back to the water only. So the truth, the foundation of all these waves that we see is what? Water. All these waves are dependent on the water for their existence. Without water, there will be no waves. If you understand this example, you will know that all these jivas, and by jivas I mean all the individual beings in this universe, are like waves. And Ishvara is like water. The waves are temporary. All the jivas are temporary. They come and go, but the water is always there. Ishvara or Brahman is always there. And all the waves are dependent on the water for their existence. All the jivas, everything in this cosmos is dependent on that Ishvara or God for their existence. Just as the waves are only names and forms of the same water, one water body, right? Similarly, all these jivas, everything that we experience are only different names and forms of that one Ishvara, that one Advitiya Brahman. They are all names and forms only, right? So, just as the qualities of the Karanam pervades the Karyam, the essence of both the Jiva and Ishvara, like the essence of both the waves and the ocean, is one: water. Similarly, the essence of Jiva and Ishvara is one, which is called Brahman or Paramatma. And in Vedanta, in order to differentiate, the Brahman is called Paramatma and Jiva is called Jivatma. That's all. Atma is the same. The inherent quality is the same, but differentiation just to identification, and a name is given Jivatma, right? And we saw earlier that the the nature of that Brahman is Sat, Chit and Ananda. What the Vedanta says is the nature of the Jiva, the Swarupa of Jiva, the inner essence of this Jiva, the real nature of this Jiva is also Sat, Chit and Ananda only. This fact we don't know. You and me, I don't know. And that is what the scriptures teach us. The Vedantic scripture, the Upanishads teach us that this is what your true nature is. The moment you understand this true nature of you being a Sachidananda and assimilate that knowledge, and then start looking at this entire world as all that same Sachidananda only, there is no difference between you, the Jivatma, and any other Atma in this world. That is what I told you in the last class. Bhagavan Krishna refers to as the Sarvatma Bhava. Once you reach that Sarvatma Bhava, that is called as moksha. For us, that understanding, that gaining this, that knowledge of our true nature, the self-knowledge, And abiding in that knowledge, most importantly, it's not an intellectual knowledge. You have to abide in that knowledge. That is what is a moksha stage. Mukti, much as Jivan Mukti, Videha Mukti, all those concepts are there. And this knowledge is what is called Atma Jnana. So now the question is, why we are not able to get this Atma Jnana? Given you told all these things, so you can easily get it. What is there? Shastra says that this knowledge of the self can be gained only after acquiring certain qualifications. Everybody cannot get it. Like if you want admission to a medical seat, you need to have certain qualifications for that. If you have studied some economics and history, you won't get admission in a medical seat, isn't it? If you have not studied maths and physics and all that, you will not be given a admission to an engineering seat. For every discipline, some preparatory, some qualifications are necessarily required. Similarly, for this Atma Jnanam also, certain qualifications are required. And those qualifications are defined as Viveka, Vairagyam, Mumukshutvam, all those things are there, defined. It's called Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti. Many qualifications are, you must have, if you possess these qualifications, at least in some measure, then only this Atma Jnanam will make sense to you. Otherwise, it will not make any sense. So what the scripture says, before coming to Jnana Yoga, which is what is the self-knowledge is, you must do Karma Yoga for a period of time, for a length of time. That is necessary for the purification of your internal instruments for this knowledge to sink in rather. Because as I told you, Kalau Kalmasha Chitta Nam, our mind in this Kali Yuga is full of lot of impurities, Raga, Dvesha. Then we have got, the likes and dislikes. Then other impurities like Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, all these impurities are there in our mind. In fact, in Ramayana, Ravana has got 10 heads. We also have got 10 heads. Only thing is we can't see the 10 heads. It is all there inside our one head. There are different heads. There is one Raga head, one Dvesha head, one Lobha head, one Moha head. Everything is there inside. And that is what is symbolized in Ravana. So we have to understand that all those 10 heads need some cleaning, right? Some maintenance. In fact, reduction in their power to dominate our behavior, dominate our living rather. They all dominate today. Likes and dislikes is what is dominating our life. We see some advertisement, beautiful advertisement, we immediately go and buy that product because we like it, and they make it so that you like it. For a moment, we don't even think, do I require this at all or not? That's why these big malls are there. What is the psychology behind it? If you go to a mall with an intention not to buy anything, you will come out of the mall with a cart load of things which you never require. That is the psychology in these malls. They operate. Somebody is keeping on, unmuting themselves and listen. You can hear some background noise. Okay. So this is what we have to manage. The Karma Yoga will make you eligible or qualified for this Atma Jnana. And one of the methodologies or one of the ways to get this Chitta Shuddhi and reduce this is bringing more and more Ishvara in our life. And how we can bring more and more Ishvara in our life? As Puja Swamiji Dayanand Swami says, once you start seeing everything as Ishvara, you are automatically bringing more Ishvara in your life. In fact, he says, people say there is one God. He says that is the wrong way of saying. What we should say is, there is only God. There is nothing other than God. If you start understanding this, more and more Ishvara will start coming in our life. And one of the ways, as I mentioned in last class also, This Vishnu Sahasranamam is one of the ways of bringing more and more Ishvara into our life. And understanding that Ishvara, discovering what that Ishvara is all about, this Vishnu Sahasranamam is one of the tools we can use for understanding that. And that way we can purify our mind, and then our mind will become sufficiently qualified to absorb the knowledge of the self if and when we want to study further Advaita Vedanta as a Purushartha, as a goal in life. Okay, so we'll stop here and continue next Sunday. I'll say the prayers, then any questions you can ask. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all for patiently listening to me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you.
Any questions are there? Please feel free to ask.
Very great, Swamiji.
Thank you very much, Mama.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Namaskaram, Mama.
Namaskaram.
Thank you.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Guruji. Thank you.
Hari Om.
எப்படி அன்மியூட் பண்ணது
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Guruji.
Guruji. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaskaram, Mama.
Hari
Namaskaram, Mama.
Namaskaram.
Hari Om, Raghuji. Namaskaram.
Hari Om.
WhatsApp
Questions? Yeah.
All our grace.
There's no.
It's all.
We can end
It's
session.
all the way. It's all the way Ishvara.
No, we have not. I have not yet come to Vishnu Sahasranama, which I will do next class. It's all some background building up. You know. See what they say. You know, built up. You have to have a built up. Then only you will appreciate what is being presented. Without built up, suddenly if I throw you into the water, you will not be able to swim. So that is what it is. Anyhow.
It's all the way, Raghuji. It's all the way Bhagavan's grace. It's all the way Bhagavan's grace that we are in this class to listen to you.
It is Bhagavan's grace that I am able to actually
all
give you
the
this
way
talk.
Bhagavan's grace.
Everything is Bhagavan. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. That's all you must remember.
Okay, mutual.
Mutual. All
Each time when
without
when I
Bhagavan's
hear
grace,
it
all
more,
these
it
things
becomes-
won't happen. You know, that is what I
Yes.
keep saying. You know,
Okay.
everything that happens in our life, everything good that happens, even everything bad that happens, also is because of Bhagavan's grace only. Because bad experiences give us lessons in life, so
Yes,
that we
yes.
become better.
It does.
We must look at
Yes.
everything in that particular standpoint. No. So even when we have some unpleasant experiences, two things happen. We are actually exhausting our karma. So those karmas have gone away. So we are now less those bad karmas. At the
Yeah.
same time, when we use our free will to understand
Swamiji.
what messages are, sorry. Yeah, who was saying something? Somebody?
Swamiji used to say one mosquito. Swamiji says when mosquito bites you, think of it as one papa gone. One
Yes.
papa gone.
One papa gone. Similarly, whenever we have bad experiences in life, we must understand that this is one less for me to suffer later. I've already suffered it. So, and
Yes.
many times, you know, my mother used to say, "Talaki vandadu talapagayoda pochina." Sometimes, you know,
Pochi.
God's grace works in such a way that what was supposed to be a serious problem, God will give it to you, small problem, and leave you. Like, you know, if the Supreme Court judges are very compassionate towards you, they may look at very circumstances and say, okay, some minimum punishment, give it this fellow and let him go away. Like that, God also can do that. Keep on chanting Vishnu Sahasranamam. That will happen to you also.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. Thank you.
Namaskaram, Mama.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ji. Hari Om.
We'll close and continue next time. Okay. Bye. Thank you. Thank you very much. Tata. Sri Ram Shobha. Thank you very much. So I will close the session. Thank you.